Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started by forming a magic loop, and I'm using white yarn for the top of my sea bunny. Okay, so when you've got that magic loop formed, you're going to go ahead and place 6 single crochet stitches inside, and make sure you work over the tail of your magic loop. I also like to start marking my stitches here, so I'm going to slip my stitch marker in. I usually mark the first stitch of each round. Alright, so when you've got all 6 of your stitches, you can take the tail that you've been working over and give it a tug, and that closes off your first round. Then in our next round, we're going to place 2 single crochet stitches in the same place. So I'm going to go ahead and put my first one here, and then I'm going to mark it, and then add another single crochet stitch in the same place. And that is our increase. And we're going to continue increasing in every stitch all the way around. Alright, so next up for our next round, we're going to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 3 stitches. So here's my first. I'm going to mark that as well. Here's my second single crochet stitch and my last. Then I'm going to increase in the next 3 stitches. So putting 2 single crochet stitches in 1 stitch. Okay, then I'll do 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, just like I started this round. And then I'm going to go ahead and put an increase in the last 3 stitches of the round. Alright, next up we're going to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 4 stitches. So here's my first. Then we're going to increase in the next 4 stitches. Then 1 single crochet stitch in the next 4 stitches. Following that up with an increase in the remaining 6 stitches of the round. Alright, so we're going to put 1 single crochet stitch in each of the next 6 stitches of our next round. So here's my first one. Then we're going to follow that by increasing in each of the next 7 stitches. Next up, we're going to put 1 single crochet stitch in each of the next 9 stitches. Next, we need to put an increase in the next 5 stitches, which takes us almost all the way to the end of our round. Here's my last increase, and then we're going to just put one single crochet stitch in that last stitch. Alright, so for the next 4 rounds, all we'll need to do is put one single crochet in every stitch all the way around. I will see you when I get closer to the end of my 4th round. Alright, so we've got a color change coming up, so I'm about to finish up my 4th round here, and I'm going to leave this last stitch halfway undone. And, this is important, I'm going to bring this yarn, the white, to the front of my work, and I'm not going to cut it. We're going to come back for it. I find this is a little easier. So once I've done that, I'm going to grab my new color. I'm using this sort of light pink, and I'm going to finish off that stitch with the new color to start my color change. Remember, keep that white yarn attached. We're coming back for it later. Alright, so for this round, all we need to do is put one single crochet stitch in the back loop of all the stitches from the previous round. So grab just the back loop there, and we're going to just put one single crochet stitch in every back loop as we work around. Alright, I'm wrapping up the end of this round here. 2 more stitches to go. Okay, and then for the next 2 rounds, all I need to do is put one single crochet stitch in both the front and back loop, so just like a normal stitch here. So one single crochet stitch in every stitch all the way around for 2 rounds. So I'll catch you back here whenever I get close to the end of my 2nd round. Alright, I am wrapping up that 2nd round of single crochet, and I am ready to start decreasing. So I'm going to work in the back loops only for this first decrease round. So I'm going to go ahead and put one single crochet in the back loop only for the next 6 stitches. And then do a back loops only single crochet 2 together, which is a decrease. And then I'm going to repeat that pattern of 6 single crochet stitches, 1 in the next 6, and then a decrease another 5 times all the way around. Alright, so it's time to add the eyes and embroider on the mouth. So I'm going to pull that last stitch up long, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my safety eyes. I'm using 9mm ones. You can use whatever size you'd like. Once you've picked out your eyes, we're going to go ahead and count up from that back loop row 1, 2, 3 rounds, and then in between that 3rd round and the round above it, wedge our eyes in place. So you kind of have to play around where you want them to be. You have to make sure that they're positioned so that they're looking the right direction. I sort of end up wiggling mine a little bit until I'm happy with the placement on them. But once I've got them in the right spot, I'm going to go ahead and snap the backs on. And now that I've got the back snapped on, I'm going to go ahead and embroider on the mouth. So I like to make a little W shape, and I usually start in the center. So I send it right up centered between the eyes. Then when I've got it where I like, I go ahead and sew down maybe about a row below and then slightly towards the right eye to form the inside of the W. Then I'll sew the outside of the W, so I'm sort of making a little V shape here. So I'll start up at the top and then bring my needle down through that same stitch that the inside leg ended on. So I'm sewing a little V. And then I repeat that on the other side, starting in the center stitch. And then sewing the other inside leg of the W. And then I'm going to do the outside by starting up at the top here. And then going down through that same spot. Once you've got that mouth embroidered on, we're going to go ahead and flip our sea bunny inside out and tie a quick surface knot. So I just loop my thread over and then pull up through that loop. And since this is inside the piece, we don't actually need to weave it in. I'm just going to snip that short and it's going to hide out inside of the sea bunny's body. Alright, so there are the eyes and the smile embroidered, so let's continue our decreasing. So we're going to put one single crochet stitch in each of the next 5 stitches, and we're not working in the back loops anymore, just regular single crochet. And then we're going to decrease, and then repeat that same pattern another 5 times till we're all the way around our sea bunny. Alright, so for our next round, we're going to put one single crochet stitch in the next 4 stitches and then decrease. So here's 3, 4, and then decrease. And then we're going to repeat that pattern another 5 times until we're all the way around. Alright, we're going to keep decreasing, this time only 3 single crochet stitches before our decrease. So here's our first, and then our decrease, and then repeat that another 5 times till we're all the way around. So before we continue decreasing, we're going to go ahead and add stuffing here. And I like to push the stuffing in and then kind of pull the body so that it keeps that sort of Twinkie shape. So we're going to pull it so that the front and the back are separating from each other. So add a little bit more and then keep kind of pulling the stuffing into the face and into the back of our sea bunny. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Kind of still that long Twinkie shape, so we can continue decreasing. So we're going to go ahead and pop our crochet hook back in. Careful not to get your pink and white or whatever colors you're using yarns tangled. And we're going to go ahead and put one single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches. So one here, pop my marker back in as well. Here's my second. And then a decrease. And we're going to continue repeating that another 5 times till we're all the way around our sea bunny. For our next row, we're going to put one single crochet stitch in the first stitch of the round, and then follow that with a decrease, and then repeat that sequence another 5 times for 6 total, all the way around our sea bunny. Okay, so for our last round, we're just going to decrease in each stitch all the way around. I'm wrapping up that decrease round and I'm ready to fasten off. So I'm going to slip stitch the first stitch of the round. And then I'm going to cut a little bit of a tail and pull that slip stitch through and tighten. So now I'm ready to go ahead and close up the bottom of the sea bunny. So I'm going to take that tail I just cut and thread it through my tapestry needle. And then I'll take my tapestry needle and I'm going to sew through each of the 6 remaining stitches. I'm just kind of whipping around the outside. Then when I've got all 6 of those sewed, I'm going to pull to cinch all of those stitches closed and then tie a knot. I like to loop my yarn over the surface and then sew up through that loop. Then I'm going to weave that tail in by sending my tapestry needle into the body of the sea bunny and then just up through some random place, doesn't really matter where. Then pull that tight and give it a snip to weave it in. Alright, so that is the sea bunny closed up. Let's go ahead and get the white skirt attached. Alright, so we left the white yarn attached to our sea bunny, so we don't even need to attach on. It's already right where we want it. So go ahead and put your hook through the loop to the left of our tail, and then we're going to chain 2 stitches to fasten on. Then all we need to do is put 1 double crochet stitch in each of the loops left behind on our sea bunny's body. So I will catch you whenever I am getting close to finishing up this double crochet round. Alright, so I'm getting close to wrapping up my double crochet. I'm going to go ahead and put my last stitch in, and then I'm going to slip stitch the top of the first double crochet I made. And then I'm ready to cut myself a little bit of a tail. Then I'm going to pull that slip stitch through, and then we're going to weave this tail in by threading it through the eye of our tapestry needle. And then we're going to sew from back to front through the top of that stitch and then just down through those double crochet to where it meets the body of the sea bunny. And then don't pull this too tight or you'll make the skirt kind of cinch in at this point. Then we're going to tie a knot on the surface of our work. Again, I like to loop mine over and pull my yarn through and then weave that tail in. That keeps the skirt from getting kind of cinched awkwardly in this spot. Once you've woven the tail in, you can go ahead and give it a snip. And then we're ready to add the whiskers to our sea bunny. Alright, so for our whiskers, we're going to take some black embroidery thread, and we're going to thread the sewing needle that we're going to use, but we want the sewing needle to be at the center of that thread. So pull it so that both sides of that are even. And then we're going to tie a knot at the end of both of those strands. I like to wrap around my needle and then slide the wraps down to tie a knot. So it's a double-stranded embroidery thread that we're looking for here. Once you've got that double-stranded embroidery thread, we're going to go underneath the white skirt and up next to our sea bunny's eye. And so straight up and through and then tug really hard to make sure that the knot goes all the way inside the sea bunny's body. Then when you've done that, cut yourself about, half an inch length or so on the whiskers, and then carefully cut any remaining tail that's hanging outside. I like to pull to make sure all of the black goes on the inside. Now let's repeat that on the other side. Once you've got both of your whiskers added, we're going to go ahead and add the colored ruffle. So I'm going to take the same color I used on the bottom of my sea bunny, this light pink. I'm going to flip my sea bunny over and go right where that jog is, so where the lines from the loops left behind kind of meet awkwardly. And then I'm going to slip my hook underneath and pull through with my color yarn. And then I'm going to chain 3 stitches. And then I'm going to put 2 more double crochet stitches inside of that same loop my chain's coming out of. Then I'll continue putting 3 double crochet stitches in every loop left behind from the sea bunny's body to add that ruffle. And it'll ruffle pretty quickly, so probably within the first 3 repetitions of this you'll see your ruffle. Alright, I will see you on the other side. Okay, so I'm almost all the way around on mine. Be careful not to miss this last stitch. It kind of hides behind the first ruffle that we made. But once you're all the way around, we're going to slip stitch the top of that chain 3 that we made when we fastened on. And then we're going to actually weave the tail in pretty exactly the same as the white skirt that we've already added. So we're going to pull that slip stitch through. And we're going to go ahead and thread that tail through our tapestry needle. So kind of from front to back through and then down through those double crochet stitches to where they meet the body. Then don't pull too tight, so you don't want to cinch the skirt in here. Then we'll tie a surface knot here on the body itself. And then weave that in by going into the body. And then cut that tail short. And we're ready to move on to the ears. So the ears are the same color as the bottom of our sea bunny's body, and we're going to start by making a magic loop. So we'll start by making a magic loop and then placing 6 single crochet stitches inside. Go ahead and pull the tail of your magic loop, and then we just need to put 4 rounds of single crochet stitches, so 1 stitch in every stitch all the way around. We're kind of making like a little tube for our sea bunny's ear. So I will see you whenever I have all 4 rounds of single crochet done. Alright, so I've got my magic ring, then 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, so I'm ready to fasten off by slip stitching to the first stitch of the round, cutting a long tail, and then pulling that slip stitch through. I also cut the magic loop tail here. I find it's kind of annoying. Then I'm going to thread that tail through my tapestry needle. And then just like with the bottom of the sea bunny's body, we're going to sew through each of those 6 remaining stitches on the ear. And then pull to cinch the bottom of the ear closed. And then we need to make 1 more of these before we attach them to our sea bunny's head. So let's make 1 more ear. Alright, so I've got both of my ears made. I'm ready to sew them onto my sea bunny's head. So I'm going to take that tail that I left behind and I'm going to use it to whip stitch the ear above each eye. So I'm just going to grab a little fabric from the body and then a little fabric from the ear, and I'm working my way all the way around. Once you're all the way around, we're going to go ahead and tie a surface knot. So loop your thread, then send your needle into the body and then up through that loop. And then we can weave that tail in by sewing it down into the body of the sea bunny. And then give it a trim. And repeat that same process on the other side with the other ear. Alright, I've just wrapped up sewing on my second ear, so let's get the tail attached. To attach the tail, we're going to take our cotton ball and some hot glue and then just press it onto the back of our sea bunny's body. And just like that, your sea bunny is done. So thanks so much for watching my video tutorial. I would be delighted if you consider giving my channel a subscription. Subscribing tells me you like what I do, so thanks for watching.